You heard that.
There we go.
Good job.
We're recording now. So, oh, did you hear my story on Facebook yesterday? I was reciting Isaiah 6:8. Ve'et mi eshlach umi yalech lanu. And whom will I send? Who will go for us? Well, unknowns to me, I'd apparently dialed Marianne and Stephanie, and they thought I was having a stroke because they couldn't understand that. And they were a little concerned. I just thought that was hilarious. Anyway. All right, let's read. Daniel.
And so far, the
Na'amathai. When you get two vowels, pronounce them as two different syllables, and you'll get what they're going for. Okay.
And Zophar the Na'amathai answered and said, "Therefore my thoughts answer me, because of my haste within me. I hear censure that insults me, and out of my understanding a spirit answers me. Do you not know this from of old, since man was placed on earth, that the exulting of the wicked is short, and the joy of the godless but for a moment?"
So is he accusing Job of exulting? I don't know. If he's talking about Job.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Though his height mount up to the heavens, and his head reach to the clouds, he will perish forever like his own dung. Those who have seen him will say, "Where is he?" He will fly away like a dream and not be found. He will be chased away like a vision of the night. The eye that saw him will see him no more, nor will his place any more behold him. His children will seek the favor of the poor, and his hands will give back his wealth. His bones are full of his youthful vigor, but it will lie down with him in the dust. Though evil is sweet in his mouth, though he hides it under his tongue, though he is loath to let it go and holds it in his mouth, yet his food is turned in his stomach. It is the venom of cobras within him. He swallows down riches and vomits them up again. God casts them out of his belly. He will suck the poison of cobras, the tongue of a viper will kill him. He will not look upon the rivers, the streams flowing with honey and curds. He will give back the fruit of his toil and will not swallow it down. From the profit of his trading, he will get no enjoyment.
Man, this is pretty vicious.
It's a lot, yeah.
Mighty man. Doesn't say much about this guy's view of God. Anyway, go ahead.
For he has crushed and abandoned the poor. He has seized a house that he did not build, because he knew no contentment in his belly. He will not let anything in which he delights escape him. There was nothing left after he had eaten, therefore his prosperity will not endure. In the fullness of his sufficiency he will be in distress. The hand of everyone in misery will come against him. To fill his belly to the full, God will send his burning anger against him, and rain it upon him into his body. He will flee from an iron weapon, the bronze arrow will strike him through. It is drawn forth and comes out of his body. The glittering point comes out of his gallbladder. Very specific.
Rather specific.
Yeah. Terrors come upon him. Utter darkness is laid up for his treasures. A fire not fanned will devour him. What is left in his tent will be consumed. The heavens will reveal his iniquity, and the earth will rise up against him. The possessions of his house will be carried away, dragged off in the day of God's wrath. This is the wicked man's portion from God, the heritage decreed for him by God.
Oh boy.
My version talks about flooding and torrents of water. Okay, is it like way, way, way off from
What verse was that?
NLT?
What verse?
Oh, it was, yeah, 28. It says a flood will sweep away his house. God's anger will descend on him in torrents.
That's what kind of mine says, the gist.
And that one just says the possessions of his house will be carried away.
Mm,
So I was just curious where the flood part came.
oh, that's funny. In my NIV, it says, or this, basically,
Yeah,
but it also talks
I mean,
about
that's
the
a
flood.
pretty significant difference in translation.
Boils down to this word. I've highlighted. That could be flood or produce. So,
In the whole big picture, I don't think it matters. His life is destroyed, but I was just wondering.
yeah,
Well, so this guy, at the very beginning, it says, then so far replied. My troubled thoughts prompt me to answer because I am greatly disturbed. I hear a rebuke that dishonors me. He is talking to Job, right?
yeah, that seems to be the point. Which is a lovely sentiment from your friend. If I ever get in a bad way, don't do this. So,
So
what?
I'm just curious, like, think of the friends that I have in my life, and if I was really down, they're not gonna say these specific things unless they felt like they had a reason to say them. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we hear that Job is a godly man, but where are they coming up with this stuff? Like, where are they coming up with? You know,
Have you ever had a religious argument?
well, yeah, but.
Well, that's what this is.
My beliefs were attacked, but not like me as a,
Oh, I've had them where I've been attacked. When you go after religious belief, you get to the core of people. And they're perceiving what Job is saying as an attack on their teaching. And so they're replying voraciously, viciously. It's what I find troubling is, or interesting, is it doesn't reflect well on their conception of God, that this would be acceptable. On the other hand, if Job's being wicked, maybe so, but I don't see anything he said it's all that wicked. So,
Wouldn't they think at this point, just from their belief system, that if you're good, you're doing the right things, you're gonna be blessed? Like,
Right.
all this stuff. And so they're thinking all this calamities come on him, so therefore he must have created some endless.
there is that element. I mean, to have this, one thing to suffer, but to have all your kids wiped out and have all your stuff taken. Look, I just finished 2 intense weeks of watching Better Call Saul, Breaking Bad, and El Camino. My soul needs a steam bath. It's not even particularly vulgar, it's just dark. God, it's dark. And it corrupted me. I'm still recovering from it. And just watching the evil, this guy just gets progressively evil as we watch. Job, there's a lot of parallels, it seems to me. So I lost the point. That's what happens. Shut up, Jeff. So anyway, well, let's move on. Now we're entering the last cycle, and things are going to change on the cycle, as you'll see. Kenny, would you mind 21?
Job answered and said, keep listening to my words and let this be your comfort. Bear with me and I will speak. And after I've spoken, mock on. File that one away. As for me, Is my complaint against man? Why should I not be impatient? Look at me and be appalled, and lay your hand over your mouth. When I remember, I am dismayed, and shuddering seizes my flesh. Why do the wicked live, reach old age, and grow mighty in power? Their offspring are established in their presence, and their descendants before their eyes. Their houses are safe from fear, and no rod of God is upon them. Their bull reeds without fail. Their cow calves, and does not miscarry. They send out their little boys like a flock, and their children dance. They sing to the tambourine and the lyre, and rejoice to the sound of the pipe. They spend their days in prosperity, and in peace they go down to Sheol. They say to God, depart from us. We do not desire the knowledge of your ways. What is the Almighty that we should serve him? And what profit do we get if we pray to him? Behold, is not their prosperity in their hand? The counsel of the wicked is far from me. How often is it that the lamp of the wicked is put out, that their calamity comes upon them, that God distributes pain in his anger, that they are like straw before the wind, and like chaff that the storm carries away. You say, God stores up their iniquity for their children. Let him pay it out to them, that they may know it. Let their own eyes see their destruction. Let them drink of the wrath of God. Wrath of the Almighty. For what do they care for their houses after them, when the number of their months is cut off? Will any teach God knowledge, seeing that he judges those who are on high? One dies in his full vigor, being wholly at ease and secure, his pails full of milk and the marrow of his bones moist. Another dies in bitterness of soul, never having tasted of prosperity. They lie down alike in the dust, and the worms cover them. Behold, I know your thoughts and your schemes to wrong me. For you say, where is the house of the prince? Where is the tent in which the wicked lived? Have you not asked those who travel the roads, and do you not accept their testimony that the evil man is spared in the day of calamity, that he is rescued in the day of wrath? Who declares his way to his face, and who repays him for what he has done? When he is carried to the grave, watch is kept over his tomb. The clods of the valley are sweet to him. All mankind follows after him, and those who go before him are innumerable.
Talking about the funeral procession. So he gets a massive funeral service.
How then will you comfort me with empty nothings? There is nothing left of your answers but falsehood.
You can yell at me all you want, but we all know the wicked prosper. Or at least some do. What's your answer to that? I love this. Job's wickedness is great. That's where we're going next. Okay, fine. Jeff?
And Eliphaz the Temanite answered and said, can a man be profitable to God? Surely he who is wise is profitable to himself. Is it any pleasure to the Almighty if you are in the right, or is it gain to him if you make your ways blameless? Is it for your fear of him that he reproves you and enters into judgment with you? Is not your evil abundant? There is no end to your iniquities. For you have exacted pledges of your brothers for nothing, and stripped the naked of their clothing.
Where is that? Nowhere in the story is that there. But we're just gonna, you rob the poor, you sell meth.
Well, that's a challenge, yeah.
What,
That's pretty tough.
have you seen this? How could I do this? Please tell me.
The only thing I can think of is like, they're just getting so angry at this point that they're just going with
Just saying.
going with the nasty venomous things that they could say. I mean, that's the only thing that I can think of is
Exactly.
sitting in a circle of, and I've seen this happen too, of just like, you're sitting in a circle, you've got heated topics. And then all of a sudden, it's not even about Job, it's just about whatever they can sling and they're getting all caught up in their emotions. It's the only thing, just because we're not reading it that way with like voices, you know,
Yeah, this is what, you've been to church tonight.
yeah.
We have a thing called the rule of dawn, which I extrapolated from my own experience. The louder I am, the greater the likelihood that I'm wrong. It's a way of me compensating a little bit, and it turns out it's true for everybody. So this is the rule of Eliphaz. This is what we're seeing right here. He's just making it up just to get him. It's really sad. Verse 7, I think you are.
You've given no water to the weary to drink, and you have withheld bread from the hungry. The man with power possessed the land, and the favored man lived in it. You have sent widows away empty, and the arms of the fatherless were crushed. Therefore, snares are all around you, and sudden terror overwhelms you. Or darkness, so that you cannot see, and a flood of water covers you. Is not God high in the heavens? See the highest stars, how lofty they are. But you say, what does God know? Can he judge through the deep darkness? Thick clouds veil him, so that he does not see, and he walks on the vault of heaven. Will you keep to the old way that wicked men have trod? They were snatched away before their time. Their foundation was washed away. They said to God, depart from us. And what can the Almighty do to us? Yet he filled their houses with good things, but the counsel of the wicked is far from me. The righteous see it and are glad. The innocent one mocks at them, saying, surely our adversaries are cut off, and what they left the fire has consumed. Agree with God and be at peace. Thereby good will come to you. Receive instruction from his mouth, and lay up his words in your heart. If you return to the Almighty, you will be built up. If you remove injustice far from your tents, if you lay gold in the dust, and gold of Ophir among the stones of the torrent bed, then the Almighty will be your gold and your precious silver. For then you will delight yourself in the Almighty, and lift up your face to God. You will make your prayer to him, and he will hear you. And you will pay your vows. You will decide on a matter, and it will be established for you, and light will shine on your ways. For when they are humbled, you say, it is because of pride that he saves the lowly. He delivers even the one who is not innocent. Who will be delivered through the cleanness of your hands?
He's saying to give his riches away, but he doesn't have any, right? At this point.
None of this makes any sense. It's like reading Ezekiel again. This is so, and they go on. Where's Renee? They're walking and walking and walking. It's just, this is unbelievable. And so what is our author trying to say? That the wisdom movement really doesn't have anything to offer for this? Yeah. Oh, she can't go to the bathroom. She picked up her purse. I thought it was her.
And just because those that know religion say it about you doesn't mean it's true. I mean, I just imagine it to be in a small room like this where they're all sitting in a circle, but the air conditioner's cut. And so it's hot and they're just like slinging it however they can.
And they've been there, what, a week, right?
Well, who knows?
That was initially.
I know I'm hard-headed here, but
That's what the thing says, just 7 days. Right,
this didn't really happen.
right.
So we're seeing both sides of man. We're seeing the side of man where I haven't done anything wrong and yet I feel like God is tearing my life up or allowing me to have my life torn up, and why isn't he helping me? And then we're seeing the side of man where it's like, you're awful, you suck, you're the blame, it's all your own fault why you're going through this, right? So the point of this whole chapter is what? This whole book. That's what I'm losing is why is this in the Bible?
Well, isn't that my question every week?
Right,
We'll see as it goes on. I hope.
because if I'm a non-Christian and I'm reading this and I'm hearing all these Christian people blow Job up, I'm like, well, I don't want to be a part of that.
No, I hear you.
I don't.
On the other hand, people experience this. So they might go, oh, well, I've been there. I don't know.
You're saying we shouldn't use this as the first book new Christians read?
You're a new Christian? No, not John. You want to read Job.
That's close.
Yeah, the J-O even.
A little bit of these Christian leaders saying, well, it's your fault. And then Job saying, no, it's not. But there's just so much of it. There's got to be a reason why these other guys' speeches are in here.
Listen, there's
Like, are
no
we
reason
supposed to
for the
get-
second Lord of the Rings. There's.
I mean, there's that they say that you're like, oh, hey, okay, maybe this is like a terrible thing to do. So are we supposed to be getting that out of it?
Well, I think that, and I've heard other Christians, but myself, it's the belaboring of the laments of Job is comforting to me. And even, you hear well-intended people say really unfair and cruel things in the midst of trials. And so, and just belaboring that point, that it could be years. It could be never that you see this, but his faithfulness is encouraging. Now, would I stay in this book and have that be the only thing that I lean
Right.
upon? No,
Right.
but just the belaboring points of of his laments and just his crying out and the faithfulness that took, it's comforting to me sometimes.
There's also the fact that he's not giving in.
Right.
You're wrong. I, in fact, did not deserve this. Yell away. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. And he just keeps hammering it. I'm not yielding on this. So there's some reason. Shall we see some more?
Is this a typical literary style of the period?
Well, no, Job's unique. But that's part of the reason it makes it a parable. It's these long monologues. Conversation in the form of alternating monologues is unique. I hear you.
Parable is Job is good and he's long suffering, and these Christian leaders, these Jewish leaders are awful. They're terrible people.
Nick, would you pick up in 23:1?
I sure will.
She whips off her glass.
Then Job answered and said, today also my complaint is bitter. My hand is heavy on account of my groaning. Oh, that I knew where I might find him, that I might come even to his seat. I would lay my case before him and fill my mouth with argument.
So hear what he's saying. I'd come right to him and have this discussion. Him being God.
Would know that he would answer me and understand what he would say to me. Would he contend with me in the greatness of his power? No. He would pay attention to me. There, an upright man could argue with him, and I would be acquitted forever by my judge. Behold, I go forever, but he is.
No, I go forward.
Oh, thank you. Behold, I go forward, but he is not there, and backward, but I do not perceive him. On the left hand, when he is working, I do not behold him. He turns to the right hand, but I do not see him. But he knows the way that I take. When he has tried me, I shall come out as gold. My foot has held fast to his steps. I have kept his way and have not turned aside. I have not departed from his commandment of his lips. I have treasured the words of his mouth more than my portion of food. But he is unchangeable, and who can turn him back? What he desires that he does,
What he desires, that he does.
what he said. For he will complete that he appoints for me, and many such things are in his mind. Therefore, I am terrified at his presence. When I consider, I am in dread of him. God has made my heart faint. The Almighty has terrified me. Yet I am not silenced because of the darkness, nor because thick darkness covers my face. Why are not times of judgment kept by the Almighty? And why do those who know him never see his days? Some move landmarks, they seize flocks and pasture them. They drive away the donkey of the fatherless. They take the widow's ox for a pledge. They thrust the poor off the road. The poor of the earth all hide themselves. Behold, like wild donkeys in the desert, the poor go out to their toil, seeking game. The wasteland yields food for their children. They gather their fodder in the field, and they glean the vineyard of the wicked man. They lie all night naked, without clothing, and have no covering in the cold. They are wet in the rain of the mountains and cling to the rock for lack of shelter. There are those who snatch the fatherless child from the breast, and they take a pledge against the poor. They go about naked, without clothing, hungry. They carry the sheaves. Among the olive rows of the wicked, they make oil. They tread the wine presses, but they suffer thirst. From out of the city, the dying groan, and the soul of the wounded cries for help. Yet God charges no one with wrong. There are those who rebel against the light, who are not acquainted with its ways, and do not stay in its paths. The murderer rises before it is light, that he may kill the poor and the needy. And in the night he is like a thief.
Well, now he switched.
Yeah.
He went to the thing where God was going to stand for him. Now all of a sudden God's doing this bad stuff.
The eye of the adulterer also waits for the twilight, saying, no eye will see me. And he veils his face. In the darkness they dig through houses. By day they shut themselves up. They do not know the light. For deep darkness in the morning to all of them, for they are friends with the terrors of deep darkness. You say, swift are those who are on the face of the waters. Their portion is cursed in the land. No treader turns toward their vineyards. Drought and heat snatch away the snow waters, and so does Sheol, those who have sinned. The womb forgets them. The worm finds them sweet. They are no longer remembered. So wickedness is broken like a tree. They wrong the barren, childless woman, and do no good to the widow. Yet God prolongs the life of the mighty by his power. They rise up when they despair of life. He gives them security, and they are supported, and his eyes are upon their ways. They are exalted a little while, and then are gone. They are brought low and gathered up like all others. They cut off like the heads of grain. They are cut off like the heads of grain. If it is not so, who will prove me a liar and show that there is nothing in what I say?
Now, see, I don't know what Job's point was there.
I could be wrong, but it sounds to me like he's saying, ambiguity in the way God treats good and evil. Like the evil prophet and are punished, and then the evil are punished sometimes, and the good prophet. You know, and sometimes they don't profit. So I think that's what it sounds like to me. Like he's refuting everything that his friends are saying, that there's no patterns and, you know, reward follows good necessarily.
It's not like the refrain from earlier, but he's saying the wicked also have good things in him. But like you said, he's just saying both ways.
Yeah,
It's good and bad, depending, and doesn't make any difference.
which I don't know how that makes his point, or what the point would be.
Well, if his friends just keep hitting him with.
You must be
the
wicked.
Evidence that you're being evil is that you're being.
He's saying
His
that-
response is,
okay.
No, there's no pattern to.
There you go, I understand. You want to read 25, please?
Me?
Is there a problem with that?
Just read earlier.
Oh, well, no, we must not have that. Julie, would you read? And spare Daniel having to read twice, because I forgot. Yes,
Are you right?
Shuhite.
Sorry. Answered and said, dominion and fear are with God. He makes peace in his high heaven. Is there any number to his armies? Upon whom does his light not arise? How then can man be in the right before God? How can he who is born of woman be pure? Behold, even the moon is not bright, and the stars are not pure in his eyes. How much less man, who is a maggot, and the son of man, who is a worm?
Okay, that was rather quick.
Okay.
And Job's going to go, all right, I got to rejoin to do that. Here, hold my beer. Renee, 26:1, please. Can you read it?
Do I know?
Is that,
Then Job answered and said, how you have helped him who has no power, how you have saved the arm that has no strength, how you have counseled him who has no wisdom, and plentifully declared sound knowledge. With whose help have you uttered words, and whose breath has come out of you? The dead tremble under the waters and their inhabitants. Sheol is naked before God, and Abaddon has no covering.
Sheol is the abode of the dead, and Abaddon is destruction. Okay, usually conceived of as a being, probably a literary device.
Ready? He stretches out the north over the void and hangs the earth on nothing. He binds up the waters in his big clouds, and the cloud is not split open under them. He covers the face of the full moon and spreads over it his cloud. He has inscribed a circle on the face of the waters at the boundary between light and darkness. The pillars of heaven tremble and are astounded at his rebuke. By his power, he stilled the sea. By his understanding, he shattered Rahab. Tell me again what Rahab was.
It's a monster of the deep.
Okay, got it. By his wind, the heavens were made fair. His hands pierced the fleeing serpent. Behold, these are but the outskirts of his ways, and how small a whisper do we hear of him? But the thunder of his power, who can understand? And Job again took up his discourse.
Now, what's going on here? If I'm not mistaken, let me check something. Okay. Not quite yet. We're almost there.
Job again took up his
No, you've read. We want to share the wealth. Nancy, would you read for me?
And Job again took up his discourse and said, as God lives, who has taken away my right, and the Almighty, who has made my soul bitter, as long as my breath is in me, and the Spirit of God is in my nostrils, my lips will not speak falsehood, and my tongue will not utter deceit. Far be it from me to say that you are right. Till I die, I will not put away my integrity from me. I will fast my righteousness, and I will not let it go. My heart does not reproach me for any of my days. Let my enemy be as the wicked, and let him who rises up against me be as the unrighteous. For what is the hope of the godless when God cuts him off, when God takes away his life? Will God hear his cry when distress comes upon him? Will he take his delight in the Almighty? Will he call upon God at all times? I will teach you concerning the hand of God. What is with the Almighty, I will not conceal. Behold, all of you have seen it yourselves. Why then have you become to get altogether vain? This is the portion of a wicked man with God, and the heritage that the oppressors receive from the Almighty. If its children are multiplied, it is for the sword.
So here that Job knows what happens to the wicked. That's the point he's making here. Everything you've been telling me, I already know. Okay. What happens to the wicked, quote unquote. Okay, keep going.
If his children are multiplied, it is for the sword, and his descendants have not enough bread. Those who survive him in the pestilence buries, and his widows do not weep. Though he heap up silver like dust, and the pile of clothing like clay, he may pile it up. But the righteous will wear it, and the innocent will divide the silver. He builds his house like a moth, like a booth with a watchman makes. He goes to bed rich, but he will not do so more. He opens his eyes, and his wealth is gone. Terror overtake him like a flood, and in the night a whirlwind carries him off. The east wind lifts him up, and he is gone. It sweeps him out of his place. It hurls him without pity. He flees from its power in headlong flight. It clasps its hands at him and hisses at him from its place.
All right. Well, we might as well do 28 because there's no break, really.
Surely there is a mine for silver and a place for gold that they refine. Iron is taken out of the earth, and copper is smelted from the ore. A man puts an end to darkness and searches out to the farthest limit the ore in gloom and deep darkness. He opens the shaft in a valley away from where anyone lives. They are forgotten by travelers. They hang in the air, far away from mankind. They swing to and fro. As for the earth, out of it comes bread, but underneath it is turned up as by fire. Its stones are the place of sapphires, and it has the dust of gold. That path no bird prey knows, and the falcon's eye has not seen it. The proud beasts have not trodden it, and the lion has not passed over it. Man puts his hand to the flinty rock and overturns mountains by the roots. He cuts out channels in the rocks, and his eye sees every precious thing. He dams up the streams so that they do not trickle, and the thing that is hidden he brings out to light. But where shall wisdom be found? And where is this place of understanding? Man does not know its worth, and it is not found in the land of the living. The deep says, it is not in me, and the sea says, it is not with me. It cannot be bought for gold, and silver cannot be weighted as its price. It cannot be valued in the gold of Ophir, and in precious onyx or sapphire. Gold and glass cannot equal it, nor can it be exchanged for the jewels of fine gold. No mention shall be made of coral or of crystal. The price of wisdom is above pearls. The topaz of Ethiopia cannot equal it, nor can it be valued in pure gold. From where then does wisdom come? And where is this place of understanding? It is hidden from the eyes of all living and concealed from the birds of the air. Abaddon and Death say, we have heard a rumor of it with our ears. God understands the way to it, and he knows its place. For he looks to the ends of the earth and sees everything under the heavens. When he gave to the wind its weight and apportioned the waters by measure, when he made a decree for the rain and a way for the lightning of the thunder, and he saw it and declared it, and he established it and searched it out. He said to man, behold, the fear of the Lord, that is wisdom, and to turn away from evil is understanding.
Okay, we'll stop here. Now, what just happened is that Job replaced the speech of one of the other friends, in essence saying, I know what you're gonna say. Let me do it for you. And that was that thing we just read about wisdom. Then you're not teaching me anything I don't already know. Let me demonstrate it. I'll give you a speech better than you can. And so now we're reaching the end of the cycles. And now we're gonna get Ellie, the new guy. I forget his name. Elihu, I think it is. Who's not gonna say anything different. We're gonna go through 3 cycles of him saying the exact same thing that the prince just said. And then finally we'll get God speaking. And God's gonna say, ah, and he'll talk. But we gotta listen to the young guy do it, because it's walking and walking and walking. And so we're in chapter 29. All right. Stop sharing. Any prayer requests?